right, good afternoon, beautiful people. It's good to see you guys. Welcome, TLC service. If you guys look around, we got a few people missing, few as in like 30 or ish people missing. We just came back from a small group camp. It was this camp that we threw together basically as a way of celebrating just a few years of small group ministries we put together here at TLC, and it was such an encouraging camp. I mean, I was tired. I mean, I love going outdoors. Trisha didn't go with me, so it was just me and Seth. Yeah, it was pretty epic, man. Like I think he was actually eating dirt at some point during the time. And he was sitting there, and I was like, man, if Mom was here, you'd be in so much trouble. But she's not, so go at it, man. Go at it. Go have a good time. It was really encouraging having time with my son, but also it was encouraging as we sat around the campfire and we are just talking and sharing about what small group has done for each of the people and how it's affected their lives and what the successes and the accomplishments we've made at small group. And it was awesome. It's really awesome because we were never made to be alone. We were never made to be this kind of like island person. We're meant to be out there with people, working, walking together side by side, with the ride and die spirit of serving with each other, And, I just want to encourage you guys, if you guys are not in a small group, to be in a small group, okay, come out and join one of our small groups. It's a lot greater than you think. I know you think small group is just like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be with, it's like church on another day. Why would I do that? Why would I have church twice? But it's actually getting to know people. It's getting to know the lives of the people around you and getting to know their stories and their life and being part of that journey together as God's working through us. So I just want to give that short plug for small group. If you haven't been in one, if you haven't come out to one, join one of ours. Okay, if you don't know which one to join, there's a Connect booth outside. Pick up a card and they'll let you know where to go. Okay. So that's small group. I'm excited for today because we're having a new series. In a series on wisdom, I'm breaking it up for you guys. I'm starting that series, and we're calling it "What Your Mama Didn't Teach You." Can you get that post up? Or yeah, what your mama didn't teach you. See, Mama teaches us a lot of things. They teach us what to do, but they don't really give us a lot of wisdom. We just told us to do it, and we kind of have to like expect ourselves to know why we're supposed to do it. But a lot of times when we figure out the why, it's like, huh? Right? Like there's a quick story about this mom who was she cooked this ham, right? And for some reason her mom taught her when you cook this piece of ham, you always gotta cut the top and the bottom out. And she's like, I don't know why we do it. And her husband's like, you just wasted two perfectly piece of ham and you threw it away. Why did you do that? Why did you just cut the front and the back end up, right? And so she asked her mom, I was like, Mom, so why do we do that? Why do we? I throughout my whole life, you told me cut the front, cut the back, and I do that even now, but I don't really know why. And then her mom was asking, you know what? It's just cause we've been doing that in our family for ages. And she's like, but I know, but why do we do that? And her mom was like, well, I don't know. Let's ask grandma, right? So she asked grandma, and grandma was like, yeah, we've been doing that in our family for ages. Like, you just do it. Yeah, but why are we doing it? Like, I know that's what you told me to do, but why are we doing it? And then, it's like, well, let's ask someone who, my mom, but she wasn't alive yet, but she asked like one of her aunts, right, why we did it. And her aunt was like, or her great aunt was like, well, it was back then because the pot we had was too small, so we had to cut the front and the back to put it in, right? And so what you're saying is there is no really good reason why we do it. We just did that because back then that happened, right? So a lot of things that your mama, just society teaches you to do, but they don't actually give you the wisdom of why, right? And if you want, this series is designed so that if you want to live a richer and more meaningful life, right? If you want to be a person of depth, where it's not just about me, but it's about us, this series was made for you because this series was designed in such a way to give you wisdom, to give you an insight into what to do. When you are faced with decision making, when there's two plausible options in front of you and both of them seems pretty good, and you're wondering to yourself, which husband do I want? Do I want husband A or husband B? They look both pretty good. Which one do I pick? Wisdom will tell you which one to pick, right? Because on paper, they both look pretty good, but wisdom will teach you which direction to go. Or if you have a choice of which job to take, I just finished college, I put all this work in, now I got two possible great jobs to do. Which one, A or B? Both looks pretty good. Both seems all right. Both looks great on paper. Both seems good, but which one do I make? Wisdom gives you the clarity in which one to do. Because if you pick one and end up being wrong, it's going to mess you up, right? But wisdom gives you clarity. Wisdom gives you the ability to see what people cannot see, right? To see deeper into the situation. Okay, so we're gonna get into that series, say what your mama didn't teach you, and we're gonna today break down the picture of thinking bigger. I want you guys to think bigger. Have your brain kind of just explore a little bit, think a little bit further, and understand what wisdom is about. So open your Bibles to Proverbs chapter 1. Okay, Proverbs was written by this king, one of the ancient kings of the people of Israel. He was the son of their first very prominent king, King David. His name was Solomon, the guy who wrote Proverbs. And this is pretty cool because Solomon, when God was going to anoint him as king, God asked Solomon, what do you want? Because I love your father David so much, because he was such a good king in my eyes, because his heart was my heart, you ask me, you tell me what you want and I will give it to you. Solomon could have asked for anything. He could have asked for the riches of the kings. He could have asked for power. But this is what he said. He looked at the Lord and he says, oh God, would you give me the wisdom to lead my people? Would you give me wisdom to lead my people? And God said, that was a good answer. That was a good answer. Because you didn't ask for riches or power, I'm going to give you both of those too with your wisdom. Right? And the life of Solomon works out in the book of Proverbs and the book of Ecclesiastes is the culmination of the wisdom poured out from him. And he was considered the wisest man on earth. Okay? And so as we learn through this, we learn to see insights and depth to things that we usually don't see. And my prayer is that you, out of this series, come out to be a deeper person. That you will come out of this series learning to see life and live life richer with more meaning and with more purpose. That you don't be simple, that you're not basic, that you grow in deeper depth, all right? So open your Bibles, Proverbs 1. We're going to read this together. We read 1 through 7, verse 22, and then 32 to 33, okay? Verses 1 through 7 together first. The Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel. What are the Proverbs for? For attaining wisdom and discipline, for understanding words of insight, for acquiring discipline and prudent life, doing what is right and just and fair, for giving prudence to the simple, knowledge and discretion to the young. Let the wise listen and add to their learning, and let the discerning get guidance, for understanding proverbs and parables, the sayings and riddles of the wise. Verse 7, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Bless you. But fools despise wisdom and discipline. Go to verse 22. And it goes, how long will you simple ones love your simple ways? How long will mockers delight in mockery and fools hate knowledge? 32 and 33, for the waywardness of the simple will kill them, and the complacency of fools will destroy them. But whoever listens to me will live in safety and be at ease without fear of harm. All right, so the first thing we got to ask the question is this, right? What is wisdom? What is wisdom? What is wisdom? And there's two words here I'm going to try to string together, give you a definition from string it together and come up with our definition of what wisdom is, what the Bible's definition of wisdom is, okay? So look at verse 2. For understanding wisdom and discipline, for understanding words of insight. I want you guys to say insight for me. Insight. Verse 3, acquiring a disciplined and prudent life, doing what is right and just and fair, for giving prudence to the simple. So everybody say prudence. Knowledge and discretion to the young. Insight and prudence. What is wisdom? It is the connection of these two words. What does insight mean? It is to be able to see what people can't see in a situation. It's to be able to see the issue what people can't see in a situation. You ever met someone, you're talking to them and they're like, I wonder why they're dating somebody and you're like, hey, no, they cannot by themselves understand why this situation is a bad situation, right? They cannot, for some reason, like they're dating this guy, and this guy seems to be always bad to them, but they cannot see that. But there's someone on the outside who always can look in and see the situation, right? That's called insight. That's saying, I know, I can see what's happening. Can you listen to my insight And let me tell you what you cannot see right now, because you're blinded by love, right? You're blinded by that. And so you cannot see the situation. Let me give you the insight into it. Let me show you what you cannot see. Okay? Insight means to see 20 things when people only see one thing. You ever met one person who knows only one solution to a problem? Right? Who's so like, this is the only solution. This is it. I said, well, you gotta think about this. What if this happens, or what that happens, or what this happens, right? Having insight is being able to see the 20 other different things when only one person can see two, or one of them, right? Insight, having the competency of seeing what people cannot see, okay? And the word prudence. The word prudence means to know a problem and be able to solve it. To recognize a situation, to recognize a wrong, to recognize a problem, and knowing what to do to solve it, to bring something that doesn't seem possible into reality. Prudence. It's not saying, okay, whatever, I can't do that. A prudent person is someone who's saying, okay, well, this is the problem. Let me give you the solution. Let me help you find a solution. Let me get you to the solution. Okay? So insight and prudence together gives us this definition of wisdom. Wisdom means being competent to the reality of life. If you have wisdom, you are competent to the reality of life. Now, let me break it down to you. Just because you have a lot of knowledge, it don't mean you have a lot of wisdom here. Just because you are competent, it doesn't mean you have, just because you know a lot, does not mean that you have a lot of wisdom in life. Okay? My son, my mom, I told you guys, my mom, she rags at me all the time. She keeps saying, you know, Seth was so much smarter than you, right? At the age of 3. I'm like, hey, yo, mom, so much smarter? Like, yeah, he's like 1,000 times smarter than you at the age of 3. I'm like, whoa, mom, let's not be dramatic here, okay? I mean, he's all right, you know, he's 3. She's like, look, okay, when you were 5, you couldn't get past Q in your alphabet. Did you know that? You were stuck on Q for Queen for the longest time. It doesn't matter who taught it to you, you couldn't get past Q, right? Your son at 2, like, knows his whole entire ABCs already. I said, whoa, mom, he had YouTube, right? I have YouTube, you know, like, you had Sesame Street. That's true, I did have Sesame Street. I can't break that. Say, hey, mom, it doesn't work that. Hey, he has a lot of knowledge at 2, but don't mean he has a lot of what? Wisdom, right? Because the fool's still eating dirt, okay? So he doesn't have a lot of wisdom. You guys following me? So you have a lot of knowledge, but doesn't mean you have a lot of wisdom. See, let me give you an example. See, when you guys are in college, nowadays, what the world don't teach you, what your mama don't teach you, is you go to college and you keep saying, I want to find myself. I want to find myself in college. Man. And you pick a major. Like communication. Okay, I'm just kidding. Okay. Like, you pick the major and you think you're gonna graduate with a 6-figure salary, right? And you're like, there's a lot of knowledge. You picked up a lot of stuff in college those 4 years, but you don't have the knowledge. You don't have the wisdom, because what are you thinking? You're thinking the money that I borrow from my communication major, for some reason, will just either disappear, right, when I get out of school, or I'm gonna be able to pay it back with the major I have, right? And what happens when you graduate? You realize what? Oh shoot, I have to pay this back? Oh, you mean that trip to Cancun wasn't a smart idea to waste that money? Oh, you mean like that computer that I needed really badly wasn't? I mean my PS4 that I bought wasn't like conducive to education? I shouldn't have used my loans for that? Yeah, that's exactly what that means. You have a lot of knowledge. Like, yeah, I know. I'm gonna graduate. I'm gonna make a lot of money. It's gonna be good to go. But you don't have wisdom. See, you don't have the competency to deal with your reality. Because if you did, let's say you were a communication major. You would have done what? You would have been smarter about how you spent your money, wouldn't you? You would have been a lot smarter, because you know, like, hey, it's going to be hard coming out there with this major. If I really want it, I'm going to have to actually work for it. You're going to be a lot wiser in the actions that you make. Yeah, you're not going to be just borrowing like $75K for your bachelor's degree, right? And then realizing, shoot, I can't pay this back. That's a big problem nowadays. You guys don't even know. Right, $1.3 trillion in debt for student loans, right? Crazy. And still people like graduating, like, oh, the United States doesn't help me. Yeah, we gave you an education and you picked communication. All right, second one, right? Think about this. All right, let's say you know. Let's say you know. I say I have a lot of knowledge, PT. I know. We consume information on TV all the time. We consume information on our Facebook, on our medias, on our posts. We read all these articles. I say I know a lot of stuff. Okay, even in church, right? So I know what I'm supposed to give. I'm supposed to give offering. I know I'm supposed to do that. Do you really know? Right? Because you have a lot of knowledge of what you're supposed to be doing, but do you know why you're supposed to be doing it? Do you understand that by doing that, you're creating a spirit of generosity? Because if you did really know, what we should be seeing is you spend a lot more time serving. That you're not just giving your money, but you're giving your time. That it's not about you, it becomes about us. So you have a lot of knowledge about what you're supposed to do, but you don't have a lot of wisdom in doing it. See, wisdom is not knowledge. Yes, follow me. That's what I'm trying to say here. Just because you know a lot, it doesn't mean that you have wisdom for it. You can say, yeah, I know what it means to be a man, right? I know what it means. Like, I can be a man at my home, my house. Really? Or a woman, right? If you did, you would probably be a better son and daughter, wouldn't you? To your parents? I mean, you say you know it. You have a lot of knowledge. You probably read a bunch of articles of 10 things to do as a kid, or like 10 things to do to help your parents, and you probably all know those things. But you say you know it, and yet there's no wisdom behind it. Right? There's competency, but there's no competency to your reality. It's all up here, but no depth. Right? See, if you had a lot of, people say, I have a lot of knowledge, I know what it means to be a husband. Do you really know what it means to be a husband? Because if you did, your wives would probably be more loving to you. I wouldn't stress so much. See, knowledge, people with a lot of knowledge, you know what they do? You know what the key characteristic of people with a lot of knowledge? They talk a lot. They talk, but there's no action. There's a lot of information that they can regurgitate. A lot of situations where they know what to do, but they have no action. You talk and you talk, but you can't make it happen. You don't make it happen. A lot of knowledge, but no talk. See, having knowledge does not make you wise. But let me break this down to you too. Being good does not necessarily make you wise. You need both knowledge and good to be wise, but if you're just good, it does not mean you're wise either. Just because you're a good person, you're a kind person, it doesn't mean that you're a wise person. Just because you're gentle and you go through life really sweet and very passionate, it does not mean that you're wise. You can go and serve in third world countries all you want, but that doesn't mean that you're a wise person. Wasting resources just to go and do nothing because you can't seem to figure out your life. And so you say you're going to serve, but what you're really doing is what? You're running. You're running from facing the reality of actually what's going on in life. So you want to go live somewhere else, not deal with reality, say that you're doing something good, and hopefully that kind of covers up a few years for you. Just because you're good, it doesn't mean you're wise. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have two good decisions. Being good does not teach you what to do in this situation. Let's say you have two great decisions to make, which job to take. Just being a good person does not mean that you will have the wisdom to know which job to take. See, wisdom is having the competency in the reality in which you live. You need both knowledge and goodness to be wise, but if you have knowledge itself, it doesn't mean you're wise, or if you're good by itself, it doesn't mean that you're wise. Okay? What is wisdom? Insight and prudence. Having the competency to deal with your reality. Having the competency, knowing what to do, and then actually doing it. That's wisdom. Okay? Wisdom is not knowing and talking. Wisdom is not knowing and feeling good about it. Wisdom is not just trying to be a good person for the rest of life, trying to coast by. Wisdom is knowing what to do and having the strength to do it. Having the competence to deal with it. Okay? But I know what some of you guys are thinking. Hey, what if I just want to be me, PT? Okay? What if I just want to just be dumb? Okay? What if I just want to go around and just, do what I'm doing? Why can't I just be me? Right? Isn't that what everyone's telling you? Just be you. Be you. Okay? Let me tell you why. Let me check and break it down to you. Verse 22. Let me just repeat that again. Verse 22. Proverbs 1. Why it's important to have wisdom and not just be you. Okay? How long will you simple ones love your simple ways? How long will mockers delight in mockery and fools hate knowledge? This is the wisdom of a man who's seen everything. Okay? This is the wisdom of a man who has 600 or 400 wives, 600 concubines. He learned a lot of bad things right from that. This is a man who's gone through a lot of situations. He's as rich as you can possibly get, and he is pouring his wisdom back into this generation, telling them, please be wise. And let me tell you something. This is why you can't just be you. Okay? There's two words here. There's a simple and there's a fool. Okay? The word simple, it means this. You're young, you're naive, not rooted, no foundation, and you go with the crowd. See, we either fall into one of these categories. Either we're simple or sometimes we're a fool. Simple means you have no root. You have no foundation. You're naive. You go wherever the crowd takes you. Right? When the world tells you skinny jeans is in, no matter how ugly it looks, you still wear it. Right? That's simple. Okay? When you are, we know there's some grown men who are still pretty simple, right? Who is just tossed back and forth. Some grown ladies who are still pretty simple, tossed back and forth to wherever the crowd takes them. Whatever seems to be the leading voice of that time. No, you will abandon everything that you have strengthened and held on to if the crowd tells you that this is where it needs to go. You have no foundation, you have no root, you have no firmness. You're simple. That's what the Bible means when it says simple. Okay? And it's what the Bible means when it says fool. A fool is a person who's smart in his own eyes. You ever seen those people? Right? A person who's just basically opinionated, stubborn, right? Does not listen to what people say. A person who says, I got this, listen to me, I know what I'm talking about. A person will not allow people to speak and say, you know what, can I give you a better way to do this? No. This is the only way to do this. Right? This is the only way in which you can accomplish this. The Bible calls that a fool. Right? Because you're so proud in your own eyes. You think you know everything. You think you have everything. There's no softness, no humility to you. And you know why being you, sometimes we fall into these two categories, why being you is bad or is hurtful. Look at verse 32. Why it shouldn't be good to be you. Verse 32. For the waywardness of the simple, meaning the waywardness, just being able to be tossed back and forth, will kill them. That's pretty clear, right? Will kill them. And the complacency, hey, I got this. I know what to do, right? Don't worry. Don't ask me so many questions. I know what to do. Will destroy them. Do you know why being you is so dangerous sometimes? Why not seeking for wisdom and just being you is so dangerous? Not willing to change and grow, having just knowledge or having just have a gut. Why being you is so dangerous sometimes? Because it can actually kill you. It can actually do you harm. It can actually hurt you. Because both being a simple person and a foolish person, they're both out of touch with reality. They don't have a touch with reality. A simple person does what? Moves with the crowd. Their reality is their crowd. Whatever crowd they're in, whatever clique they're in, whatever social circle they're in, whatever realm dictates them. That's a simple person. They move with that crowd. They're not in touch with the reality of the rest of the world around them. They say, this is my reality. This is where I'm going to move. This is where I'm going. And so wherever this group goes, I go with them. You guys remember that song, Friday? Friday, Friday. Dun. You know that song? It's by that girl, right? I forgot her name, right? But remember when it first came out on YouTube, right? The whole entire YouTube universe was like bagging on her. They just like, this is the dumbest song in the world. She got famous for being awful. That's how bad it was. I'm like, dude, this girl is, how can she stand after this? Like everyone, there's like 30-minute critiques of their song. They break down that song into minutes, into seconds, critiquing everything, right? And then what happens? And then Katy Perry puts her on her album, or one of her songs. I think another song about Friday, right? And then everybody's like, oh yeah, this time she was really good. Man, it was really great this time. Like all of a sudden their whole entire message took a different turn, all because that universe, that social circle, that realm dictated for them. You see, if you are a simple person, It can harm you because you go where the crowd takes you. And the crowd if you happen to be in a crowd that's really bad, it's gonna take you somewhere that's really dumb. And you're gonna be doing something that's really foolish because why? Your reality is your crowd. Your reality is your circle. Your reality is the voice of everyone else telling you. So you are wayward, the Bible says. And it can kill you. But a fool is out of touch with what? Of reality too, because a fool is in touch with his pride. This is how it's done. Don't question me. This is the way it's been done forever. Don't break this. My grandma. I want to call my grandma a fool, right? But sometimes she says things. I'll be like, Grandma, it's 21st century. We don't need that anymore. So you don't know. This is how it's been done for generations. Like, yes, in third world country, Vietnam, right? We are in the 21st century in America. We don't need this anymore. You don't listen to me. This is how it's supposed to be done. I'm not saying it. Bible says it, right? That's a fool, right? That's in touch with your pride, right? That's your pride speaking. And when you let your pride speak, you think yourself so high of yourself. You take yourself so seriously that no one else can speak into you. No one else can help you grow and change. No one else can help form your process. Okay? And you're saying, what's wrong with that? What's wrong? What's wrong with just being myself, though? Yeah, okay, it can kill me, but hey, I grew up knowing just be yourself. And it's great. Can I tell you something? There are situations in life where you cannot be yourself. There are situations in life where being yourself is actually hurtful for you, actually harmful for you. Right? A child psychologist, I forgot his name, but he said this about children and then adults growing up, that usually you can divide kids into 3 categories. The anxious, right? Is that right? Okay, I believe you, right? The anxious, the confrontational, and the philosophical. Okay? The anxious, the confrontational, and the philosophical. The anxious kid who grows up to be an adult is one that's always worrying about everything. Who's always afraid, always questioning, always saying, I don't think I can do it. Let's get out of here. This is too hard. This is too difficult. Hey, you know what? This is not safe. We got to go. Right? The confrontational one who's naturally inclined to confrontation is like, let's do it. I don't care how many walls I got. I will break through them, right? Let's just fire it out right now. Let's stop talking. Let's just put up your dukes. We'll fire it out and we'll all be good to go, right? That's the confrontational one. And the philosophical one's more like, hey, let's talk about it. Hey, before we get all crazy here, right? Let's have a conversation. Let's deal with this as normal people, okay? Yeah, like that sounds pretty natural. Naturally, he says, we each are in these categories, naturally in our hearts, okay? But do you know what? These situations are only good for specific situations. See, if you're an anxious person, okay, an anxious person, you know when an anxious person is really good? In a highly tense situation, in a highly harmful situation, an anxious person is good. Because the anxious person knows to do what? Get out of there, right? Simple. Hey, there's a robbery going on. We should not stay here and confront this. We shouldn't try to negotiate. We should just get out of here. That's an anxious person. It's a smart thing to do. Let's get out. So an anxious person knows in that situation, highly stressful, highly hurtful, highly painful situation, it's time to get out. But can you imagine if you were if you're inclined to confrontation, what happens when you're into a highly stressed confrontation area? Let me get a bigger gun. Hold on, right? Let me just. They want to rob me, right? I'm gonna rob you right now for robbing me. It's gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna take you out right now. And in that situation, it just elevates the problem, escalates the problem, not solve the problem, right? Or a philosophical person would come and, hey man, I know you got a gun to my head. Let's have a talk right now, man. Like let's just calm down. Everyone just be cool. Like, no. See, the best person in that situation is an anxious person. We gotta go. It's the smartest thing to do. Just bone out. Don't stand here and try to fight with this guy. All right. What about the confrontation? What is a confrontational person best for him? Right. When he's in a situation where it's not too big out of his control, but it's not too soft either. Right. He's in a situation where everything's mild, so he can always say something like this: hey, we just gotta get through it. And let's just make it happen. Let's just do this. I know this seems hard, but let's do it. Right. So that person, he thrives in that situation, or she thrives in that situation. But can you imagine putting an anxious person there? Situation gets tough. Anxious person says, I gotta go. This is too hard. I said, but I think if you just keep going, you're gonna be able to get through it. No, 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 no. I see this all the time, right? We tried this 100 times before. It ain't gonna work. We gotta go. I said, no, no, okay. I get it. Gun to your head, that's smart. But this part here, we can fix this. We can get through this. We can grow from this. Just step in. Don't give up. Commit. Work with it. The anxious person, nope. I've seen this. It's too difficult. I gotta go. But the action person, the confrontational person said, no, I will make it happen. We'll commit. We'll make it happen. We'll fix it. The philosophical person comes into there and the situation is hard. All they do is talk. They don't want to fix anything. They just want to talk about it. Yeah, this is a really difficult situation. I think we got 10 plans we got to go through. A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Which one you want to go? No, I just want to list the 10 plans. I don't want to actually do anything, right? I want to be critical about it. I want to let you know why you're doing it wrong, and I want you to know why this is very painful, but I don't really want to do anything about it, right? Nothing gets done. So the only person that can actually get anything done at that situation is a confrontational person, okay? But let's say, where does the philosophical person thrive? Where situations of high drama, but no big potential risk. High drama, but no risk. Okay? This person can come in and be like, hey, I know things are very dramatic right now. It's okay. Let's talk through this. They're like, yeah, let's talk through it. Let's have a conversation. Let's just me, you. Let's work this out. Very high drama. It's like, oh, it's so intense. Right? It's so crazy. You know people who make like big deals out of nothing? Right? Yeah, those people who work in who are inclined to philosophical movements, they work well in the situation. They're just like, oh yeah, that's a very big deal. Let's try to talk it out. Okay? Can you imagine a confrontational person coming in there? Like, if it's a dramatic situation, what would the confrontational person do? Hey man, get your stuff together, right? I don't care about your feelings. Let's just get it done, right? Who are you? You know, and the anxious person will be like, oh man. Yeah, this is way too much drama for me. I gotta go. Sorry, guys, right? You know? So what am I saying? Being yourself. A simple person, a foolish person. Being yourself is not necessarily the wisest thing to do. In order for you to walk faithfully, right, to correct our situation, we have to overcome these situations. So a confrontational person needs to learn to do what? Needs to learn to have the wisdom to be calm, to be patient, and to let it go. To not let their stress take over and then go crazy. To be able to breathe and say, okay, I really want to punch this guy, but I'm not going to do it. I really want to make the situation worse, but I will not do it. See, that's wisdom. That's wisdom in a highly tense situation. Instead of making it worse, they learn how to make it less. See, but in a medium-sized confrontation, see, the person who's anxious needs to learn to do what? I need to be courageous. I need to stop being scared of everything and step into something. I need to move into this. I have to have the courage to face this wall, face this fear, face this issue. I have the wisdom. That's wisdom right there. See, a philosophical person will know what? It's time to stop talking, maybe start doing. It's time to stop running my mouth and start to actually do something, to step into something. That's wisdom. And that wisdom right there, guys, is not by being yourself. The Bible actually says, naturally you are inclined to foolishness. You are not inclined to wisdom. Naturally, you're inclined to think that you're smart. That you think you know what's up, but you're not. You know this, right? Even as a kid, you do this. Seth does this to me all the time. He thinks he's so smart. He's like, hey, Daddy. He's like, Daddy, let me have this candy. He's like, it's going to give you cavities. No, not this time, Daddy. It's not going to give me cavities. I was like, what do you mean? It's like, it's small. I'm like, that's pretty smart. It is small, right? But it's still going to give you cavities. No, Daddy, it's not going to give you cavities. Why do you think you're so smart? Daddy, it's small. It's small, right? It's logically, he thinks he's really smart, right? He thinks he's smart, naturally. And we do this all the time, but we do this in a higher level. We do this in a higher degree. We do it to our parents. They try to teach us to do something like, no. I know what's up. I'm from the 21st century, mama, right? Daddy, right? You're old school, right? You are old. You still use dial-up. I am legit now, right? 100 gigabytes. Is 100 gigabytes? Megabyte. 100 megabytes, right? On my Wi-Fi, right? I'm smart now. You think you are, don't you? You think you know everything, how to do things, all right? But you know you don't. Because when you get to their age, you're like, shoot, why was I so dumb? Like, man, what, did I really say that? Man, I'm dumb, right? How many of you guys like took pictures and you look back on it, like, did I have that hairstyle? Why did I think that was good? What made me think that shirt I was wearing? That's why I'm gonna feel about skinny jeans later on. It's like there were people gonna say, why? Like, yes, I told you from the beginning, skinny jeans is not cool. Why are y'all still wearing it? They'll be like, yeah, you're right, right? Your kids are gonna be looking at you and be telling, oh man, skinny jeans, dad. What are you thinking, man? Right? That's what's gonna happen. See, we think we're so smart. We think we're so naturally smart, but the Bible says what? If you be yourself, you're gonna find yourself in a situation where it's gonna harm you instead of do you good. When you think that you're trying to be yourself, you're actually going to end up in a more painful situation than not. Think about it. You think, well, it's just affecting me. No, it's not. It's not affecting you. See, if you don't know how to be wise in your family, yeah, you're the dumb one, but then guess what? You're going to raise kids like that. You're going to affect your kids. You're going to affect your family. If you're leaders in ministries, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I'm a smart one, but yeah, you're going to affect the people around you. Being you, being yourself, in this situation, not necessarily good. God calls us to have wisdom. When to say something, when to do something, how to do it, and what is the most effective way to do it. Have wisdom. Okay? And there's no easy way to do this. People always come to me and they always say, hey, PT, I need a decision to be made for advice. Okay? Do I pick A or do I pick B? Okay? Tell me how to do it. And what people want, they want a simple technique. Hey, let me show you, like 10 ways of how to make the decision. No, it's not how it works. See, my response is always two responses. If you guys know me long enough, just two responses. One response is I say, you know what? You just choose. I believe that you have the right wisdom to do it, right? I know that whatever you choose, because of the way you've walked, the way you've dealt with life, the way you endured things, I think whatever choice you make, you're gonna turn it into a good choice. Right? If both choices are good. But there are other people where I'll be like, all right, I just don't need you to talk right now, okay? Just do what I tell you, please, okay? Do what I'm going to share with you, my wisdom and my advice to you, just listen to it. Just do it. Because sometimes what they're there for, they're not looking for actual wisdom, they're not looking for advice, they're looking for you to tell them what they want to hear. And you got to tell them sometimes, I'm going to tell you what you don't want to hear. And you're not going to like it. But you have the wisdom to follow it, though. Right? What is wisdom, guys? Wisdom is having the competency to deal with the reality that you're in. And being yourself in the reality of life, not necessarily good. It will actually may even harm you. Being yourself in those situations might harm you. You need to develop the wisdom to see when, how, or what to do depending on where you are at, depending on who you're with, depending on the situation in which you find yourself in. You need to develop that wisdom, and that wisdom does not develop overnight. It does not take a simple answer to give you. And you know this. Sometimes you tell people, hey, this is what you're supposed to do. Does a person usually do it? No. How many times have you given your friend this advice about whatever relationship they're in? They're like, hey, this is what you're supposed to do. And they never do it. Why? Because wisdom is not developed over a strategy, over a simple advice. Wisdom for yourself is developed over time. It's developed by you trying to be courageous even when you feel anxious. Wisdom is developed for when you are trying to be calm in a situation where you want to actually lash out. Wisdom is being in a situation where you need to stop talking and learn to start doing something. See, that type of stuff takes time, and it takes courage, and it takes willingness to step into it. I see so many brothers who talks about all these things, and yet there is no action to their life. I see all these sisters who are always fearful of everything that moves or breathes and not willing to jump into something courageous. To do something, even though everyone else around them tells them they do this. It's the safest bet for you to do. When the wisest thing to do is maybe jump over this. Maybe face it. Maybe deal with it. It could be a job. It could be a relationship. It could be anything. But sometimes we have this fear, and so we always do what? Take the easy, safe route, which is to run or to walk away or to hide. When you should be courageous and step into it. You see, wisdom gives you the insight to think bigger. It gives you the ability to see further. It means that you're not a simple person going with the crowd, going with their thought. You're not a foolish person elevating your own personal pride, elevating your own personal self-worth. See, what your mama didn't teach you is they didn't tell you why. You know what you're supposed to do, right? But you don't have the ability to step into that. And the book of Proverbs is telling you that. Do you understand why it's important? Do you understand what it is and why it's important? But here's the last question. Where do we get it? How do we even start to get it? How do we even begin to have it? All right? Look at verse 7. How do you find this wisdom? Because it sounds right. But I mean, it sounds like a lot of situations you bring up is situations I've seen in myself and my friends and things around me. But how do I find this wisdom? Look at verse 7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Same word there. But fools despise wisdom and discipline. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, the beginning of wisdom. Okay? The fear of the Lord. Now, when I say the word fear, I know what goes through your mind because we're all Asian, right? It's about butt whooping. We're afraid. We're thinking like, oh, the fear of God, so I'm afraid that God's going to punish me. That's what I need to do and conform myself. No, that's not what the fear of the Lord means here. There's a negative fear, which is, yeah, you do something stupid, I'll hit you, right? But there's also a positive fear. A positive fear, I talked about that a while ago. Positive fear is you have this sense of awe. You have this sense of respect. You have this you're afraid to dishonor this person. You're afraid to sound dumb. So your action is about them. Your action is about who they are. You lift them up. See, when you're afraid to get punished, your action becomes about what? It's about you. I'm afraid for myself. I'm selfish. And so therefore it's about me. But when it's a positive fear, it becomes about them. It becomes about the object of which you are addressing yourself to. Okay, let me give you an example here. Okay, so one of my, I don't get starstruck. I'm not big on K-pop stars. I'm not big on celebrities. I don't like freeze up when I see those guys, right? I see them a lot, but they're like okay, whatever. Like girls like screaming like, what's that new band called with a bunch of guys? It's really popular now. PTS? Yeah, PTS. Yeah, BTS, right? BTS. Yeah, right. It's huge. They're huge now. I know girls that are swooning over them, and they're just like super starstruck. I don't get starstruck, okay? But there was one time I was struck, okay? But it was not by a celebrity. It was by a pastor, okay? I was like, what? That's so lame. Just listen to the story, all right? So one of my favorite speakers who's kind of really helped me articulate a lot of things I believe in was this pastor named Tim Keller. You have some of his books, right? He's a great pastor, great teacher. He's able to take theological, dense, heavy stuff and make it very palatable, very easy to understand, and very practical, right? Very practical. And I'm like, dude, this guy is legit. And so one time, me and my wife, we went to New York, right? And I was like, dude, through a Sunday, I said, let's go to one of his churches. She's like, okay. But I was thinking, man, wouldn't it be crazy if I see him? Because I know that he kind of rotates churches to preach, So you usually don't get to see him often, So and he doesn't tell you where he's preaching because people over there, they kind of go with where he goes to. So they want to make sure that the crowd is evened out. So when we happened to have an Airbnb that was literally one street away from the church. So I was like, oh, let's go to the church. I was like, okay. So we went to the church. I was sitting there like, man, wouldn't it be crazy if Tim Keller shows up? Right? And she was like, I don't know, there's a lot of churches here. And then bam, he walks up the stage. I was like, oh, honey. I was like, honey, he's here. He's here, right? She's like, what is wrong with you, man? It's just a pastor. You do this all the time. Shh, he's speaking. Don't talk, right? And she was just ragging on me. He's like, man, you weird. She's saying all these things. I'm like, no. Blocking you out, not important right now, right? Tim Keller is here, So after he preached, it was a great message. Went up to the fellowship hall. I was like, man, wouldn't it be crazy if we get to see him? And she's like, what if he comes up here? I was like, what are you gonna do? I was like, I don't know. What should we do? She's like, you want to take a picture? I was like, you think he'll take a picture with me? Right? I was like, well, and then, so I was looking down the stairs. I was like, saying, and I saw him walking up. You can see him because he's bald. Right? I was like, oh shoot, honey, he's coming. She's like, oh, here's your chance. I was like, no. I can't talk to him. She's like, why are you being so weird? Yeah, you can't just say hi. It's like, don't you want people to come say hi to you? I was like, no, you don't get it, babe. You don't understand. This man, when he speaks, he is grammatically correct every single time, right? Like, have you not heard me preach, baby? Like, I am like, there's so much guiltiness that comes out of here. Like, there's no way I'm like, oh, hello, sir. You know, like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna say to him? You know, like, I was freaking out. I was like, oh, no, he's coming up, and she was like, just, it's okay. Just say hi, shake his hand, say thank you for inviting us to your church. Thank you. No, hon, I can't do that, right? And so he literally walks up, and I'm just like, and he just walks away. I'm like, and she's like, what is wrong with you? Shh. Let's just follow him. So, man, it was this weird. It was like this weird, like, like I was like, man. And she's like, what is wrong with you? He's a human being. He's like, no, honey. Like, I'm like, why are you so afraid? It's like, dude, what if I like say something? What if he asks me a theological question? I can't answer it. Like, I'll be like, oh shoot, like I'm unworthy. Let me walk away. You know, like, I mean, you know, all these thoughts are coming through my brain. You know, and I was like, man. And so thinking about, it, I was like, yeah, that's. I wasn't afraid that he was gonna punish me, because if anything, I'm pretty sure I can still take him, right? He's an old guy, but it wasn't afraid of punishment. It was a positive fear. The positive fear is this sense of, you know, this guy is like, he's a good preacher. He's a good man. Like he's helped articulate a lot of the stuff that I've taught to you guys over the years. I mean, whoa, right? And so that same positive fear is how we approach God. This is what the Bible says when it says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. It is because when you approach God this way, you're not approaching God because you're afraid that you're going to be punished by God. You're approaching God because of his reverence and awe for him. You're afraid that you don't want to do anything that would disappoint or dishonor him. You're afraid that, you know, there are things that you would do and behind closed doors that you would never do in front of your mom. You know that, right? Out of reverence, out of love, out of fear for her. In the same way, when you approach God, knowing that he will not punish you, but knowing who he is, there's a sense of just wanting to elevate yourself, wanting to elevate who you are, elevate your decisions and your tasks and your thinking. You want to be better in pursuit of God. And so when you have that fear, do you know why that's the beginning of wisdom? You know why that's the beginning of wisdom? Because you're no longer going to be a simple person. Because a simple person is directed by what? The people around them, right? When you are in fear, when there's a healthy, positive fear of the Lord, you're not going to worry about what people say. They could be making fun of you. They could be ragging on you. They can be saying a lot of stuff, but it does not affect you. You will not be wayward with them because their word is not what is driving your reality. The one who has made reality is driving your reality. You are approaching the one who has created what you call reality. And so you have this reverence for him. You have this awe of him. And you recognize the voices of the people who have directed my other realities, their voice means nothing. And you're not going to begin by being simple, by being naive, by being young, by being not rooted. You're going to say, you know what, God, what do you want? And I will root myself in that. Where do you want me to stand? And I will stand firm in that. There's a reverence for that. And also, you're not going to be a fool. See, a fool takes himself seriously. A fool takes his opinion seriously. But before the Lord of hosts, before God who knows all things, what are you going to say that he does not know? You're not going to be able to take yourself seriously. You won't take yourself seriously. You actually will be humbled before him because you recognize the disparity between you. And you want to elevate and rise up to the occasion in which he has called you for. And so you're not going to find yourself being so serious, taking every situation seriously. You're going to find yourself opinionated, stubborn. You're not going to find yourself not willing to listen to the voices and to the advice and to the words of others. You're willing to listen when you have a healthy fear of the Lord. Now, this fear, this reverence can only happen. Okay, listen, this can only, to find this wisdom, it only happens when you are absolutely sure God will not punish you. Okay, this wisdom will come only when you are absolutely sure God will not punish you. Because if you believe that your action will cause an effect of his punishment to you, if you believe that what you do or what you don't do according to him is going to relate to punishment, if you have that, you will always go with the sense of, I'm always going to be afraid. I'm always going to be afraid of my actions. I'm always going to be afraid of what I'm doing. I'm not going to be free from the voices of people. I'm not going to be free from having my own personal opinion. See, religious people, they can have knowledge of God, but they can be just as foolish. This happens in the church all the time. You can have so much knowledge of who your God is, but still be so foolish. You know why? Because after a while, you think that all the stuff you know about God, that makes you opinionated. That makes you stubborn. That makes you unable to open up to anyone else. That makes you see that you are puffed up in your pride. So unless you do what I do in the church, then you're no longer a servant, or you're not really a good Christian, right? Or a good believer, whatever. See, it only works when you know that you will not be punished by God. And how do you know this? How can you have this assurance? How can you have this strength of will, the strength of understanding that you will not be punished by God? And the answer is Jesus. Man, let me tell you about the cross. Let me tell you about who Jesus is. Let me tell you what he has done, that if you would understand this, you have the freedom to begin to have wisdom. What Jesus has done, that he didn't come to earth as a king, as his rightful position. He didn't come to earth dictating what he should have done. He came to earth as a servant. He came to earth to give himself for you. He came to earth to say, look, my life will be a ransom for yours. I want you to understand what it means to be created by your God. My life will be a ransom to bring you there. And so he gives his life, and what he gives up, everything about him begins to be given to us. Meaning this, it means that you are a sinner, and yet you are a saint before God's eyes. If you believe what Jesus Christ has done, you are a sinner and a saint. That's crazy, right? That means that no matter what you did that was dumb yesterday or the day before that, no matter who you have been, right? You are a sinner, and yet you are a saint because God sees you as righteous. You are not righteous, but he has given you that position. He has given you a position of righteousness anyways, which means what? He's not punishing you. See, our actions, then if we really understand this, our action becomes different, because there's two ways to act here. If we know that God's not going to punish us, the selfish way, the way that we know that we haven't really understood this, the truth, the wisdom of God, is that we will go about and do anything. Say, I can do whatever I want. God's not going to punish me. Yeah, I can do this, I can do that. You don't have reverence for him. You don't have love for him. You don't understand who he is. But a true understanding of who he is, this is what happens. You begin to realize, oh shoot, I messed up. I need to elevate myself, not continue to go down this road. I recognize that this is a slip. This is many slips. It's time to change. It's time to grow. It's time to get out of here. Not to stay in here, not to go down, not to continue to go down. It's to elevate myself. So that's a healthy heart of God. That's a healthy heart that tells you understand him. And when you have this, the Bible says this, God works out all things, whether it's good, whether there are crazy things happening in your life, he works out all things for your good, for those who love him. He works out all things for the good, for those who love him. That no matter what's going on in your life, you have this constant assurance that it is for my good. And so when you go through a difficult situation, painful situation, and you say, well, God, why is this happening? Do you realize that? Do you realize what God is doing to you? He is taking this anxious kid who's afraid of everything. He's putting you in a situation. So I know it hurts. I know you're in pain. I know you're worried. But I'm putting you here. Why? Why are you putting me here? It's going to be for your good. I can't see it. It hurts so much. I know. But have the courage to face it. Fear me. Reverence me. Remember me. I'm for you. Walk through it. And then all of a sudden this anxious kid begins to walk through it. And you get out on the other side. And what happens? You realize, I just achieved wisdom. Whatever that was, I achieved wisdom. It gave me the wisdom to walk. Right? Or you could be this really puffed up, elevated, prideful guy. And you're like, or dude, and you're like, hey, I want to do this. I mean, everyone's so dumb, right? It works better when I'm doing it by myself. It's all about me. It's easy. It's faster when I'm doing it by myself. And God says, I know you're smart. I made you smart. I know I surrounded you with people you think are dumb, right? I'm surrounded by people that you feel like you have to do things all by yourself for. But can I tell you something? It's there for your good. Why? Because you need to slow down. You need to have some patience. You need to breathe. You need to stop jumping the gun. You need to realize, hey, I gotta move slower. I gotta think before I act. See, Bible says he works out all things for your good. So even if it seems bad, it's for your good. He's growing in you wisdom. See, it only happens, this fear of the Lord, this growing of wisdom can only be attained if you know that he is not here to punish you. If you're thinking that you're going through a bad situation and he's there and it's because he's punishing you for something, you're going to do what? You're going to bone. If you're an anxious person, you're going to get out of there. If you're a confrontational person, you're going to say, screw you, I'm done with you. Right? If you're a philosophical person, you're just going to be talking with them all day, whatever, I'm done. We'll deal with it when things are better. No. But if you understand that he will not punish you, that he's walking with you because of what Christ has done for you, you're going to be saying, all right, God, I don't get it, but I'm willing to walk it. I'm willing to go through it. And God, in this situation, I want to talk it out, but I guess I just need to do it. I need to stop talking. I just need to walk through it. Yeah. I need you to make. Sometimes you ever seen yourself in that position that you're this person who always talks, but then God makes you into a situation where you have to choose. You have to choose something, and you don't want to. You just want to stay there because to choosing means that you have to go forward, and you don't want to go forward. You want to just talk about going forward, but you don't actually want to do it. And yet He puts you in a situation where you have to make a choice. Isn't that crazy? Because when you make that choice, what happens? In reverence for Him, remembering that He's good for you, what happens? Wisdom. Wisdom. Wisdom comes. So my prayer for you guys is this, right, as we close. Man, would we be a people of depth? Would you be a son and daughter that actually has the courage to face situations when you're scared? Would you be a son and daughter which would have the ability to be patient in a very stressful time? Would you have be a son and daughter that would actually stop talking and start doing? Would you seek for the wisdom of God? Would you seek for His wisdom in your life? All right, let's pray.